Hi guys, welcome back to the Hall of Style. I'm Jen. Today I thought it would be fun to create a list for you guys of different perfumes that are perfect to wear to various fall gatherings. We're thick in the middle of fall now and the weather's starting to get cooler for most of us. And it's the time of the year where you're starting to crave those perfumes that are perfect for cooler weather, right? We're looking for perfumes that are very cozy in feel, that have these more autumnal notes, such as like a heavy vanilla, woodsy vibes, cashmere, like a cashmere sweater kind of a vibe, spices like cinnamon, and cozy amber. So I thought today would be the perfect day to kind of talk to you guys about different perfumes that I think will be perfect to wear out to different gatherings that you might be invited to or parties you might be throwing yourself during the fall. Just a note that all of the perfumes I'm featuring today, I bought with my own money, so today is not a sponsored video. And as usual, I will put timestamps down below for you guys so you can skip around and, just check out the perfumes that you are particularly interested in. Okay, so without further ado, here are 12 perfumes that are just perfect for various fall gatherings. So my first category is a perfume that is perfect for jumping into a pile of leaves, or if you're on the East Coast, to wear while you're out leaf peeping, which is one of my favorite terms ever. It's hilarious. So to me, this perfect leaf-inspired fragrance is Autumn Vibes from Maison Margiela from their replica line, which I have in this fun travel size. And this perfume to me is like the epitome of fall. It's perfectly named, it's right in the name, Autumn Vibes, and it is perfect for fall and fall activities. This perfume was released in 2021. It is an EDT formulation, and the nose was Fanny Ball. The official notes from Maison Margiela's website: the opening has pink pepper CO2 essence and cardamom essence. The heart has carrot seeds essence, nutmeg essence, and olibanum essence, which is like frankincense. And the dry down features cedarwood heart essence, a moss accord, and fir balsam absolute. So what makes this perfume perfect for this activity in the fall is that it literally smells like leaves. It has this sort of slightly damp earth vibe, and it has this very leaf, very like a dried earth, a dried leaves vibe versus some of the fragrances that maybe have more of an evergreen or a different type of a fresh tree or fresh grass outdoorsy. This is definitely like the fall vibes of the leaves are drying up, things are kind of drying out, and you're going through that cycle of fall where you're starting to really feel that things are kind of done for the summer for sure. The opening here is very woodsy. I definitely get the woodsy vibes that they're describing in the notes. I actually think there's some sandalwood here. I get a little bit of sandalwood, but I definitely get the cedar too. It's very woodsy and truly has that outdoorsy vibe. I would call this fragrance lightly spicy. It has almost this sort of like suede feeling. It feels like that sort of cozy cashmere sweater slash suede, not quite veering into leather, but it's just very like warm and cozy. It feels like something that you would wear in the fall for sure. There's also a slightly nutty feel here. It reminds me a little bit of hazelnuts. It's very cozy, like that combination of the nuts and the spices and the sort of leaf vibes. It's just so cozy. There's also a slightly sweet feel from the maple that's really cozy and nice. I would call this fragrance definitely unisex. I think either men or women could really enjoy this. There's a lot of great notes that I think will appeal to both. With it being an EDT or eau de toilette formulation, it is going to be on the lighter side. This isn't a super heavy duty, strong fragrance. It's, if you're familiar with the replica line from Maison Margiela, you're probably used to the fact that most of their perfumes, if not all of them in that line, are EDTs. They're a little bit lighter. They're not like invisible, but they're not going to be like hitting you over the head with a really strong performance. So just kind of know that going into it. At the end of the day, this fragrance reminds me of just being out in the fall on a crisp, cool day, wearing a cozy cashmere sweater, jumping into a big pile of leaves with family and friends and laughing and just having a wonderful time. And then maybe afterwards going out and having a cozy cafe latte with maybe like a little maple scone or something, and just having this like quintessential perfect fall day. The next fragrance I want to talk to you guys about is the very popular Gris Charnel from BDK Parfums, which I have in a fun travel size. And to me, this perfume is the quintessential rainy day perfume. Gris Charnel comes in both an EDP and an extrait formulation. The EDP was released in 2019, and the extrait was released 3 years later in 2022. The nose for this perfume is Mathilde Bijaoui, and the official notes from BDK's website, the opening is fig, black tea, and cardamom essence. The heart features iris absolute and bourbon vetiver, and the dry down is Indian sandalwood and tonka bean absolute. This perfume has this perfect feeling of a rainy day outside. You're snuggled up on your couch and you've got a great book ahead of you to read. Perhaps you have a London fog latte or maybe a chai tea latte, or perhaps just an Earl Grey tea, something that's really cozy that you're gonna just sort of sip on and enjoy your book, and you just don't have a care in the world. You're just having a relaxing afternoon. That is the vibe that I always get from this perfume. It is so cozy. There's something so cozy about it, but it also has this sort of cool vibe that I think comes from the iris. So it's very cool while being very cozy at the same time, which I think is really interesting. It's funny because this perfume is so popular, and it really was from the moment it was launched. But for me, it took me a little while to warm up to it. The first time I smelled it, I felt like it was really masculine leaning. I think it was possibly the vetiver, because vetiver can go really like aftershavey for me. But the longer I sat with it and the more times I tried it, it just seemed like every time I tried it, I loved it more and more. And it just really grew on me. And now it's one of my favorite fragrances. I do get the fig with this fragrance, but it's on the lighter side for me. I wouldn't refer to this as a fig fragrance the way I might with like Diptyque Philosophus or something. I feel the spicy, woodsy, and smoky vibes are much stronger impressions. At least they are for me personally. I also really get the tea vibes. It's creamy and soft and slightly sweet. You might be reminded of a chai tea. I've heard other people talk about it in those terms that reminded them of a chai tea, and I can definitely see that. It sort of has that chai tea with like some creaminess added into it. It's so cozy. I love it. As I find as usual with BDK perfumes, I feel like the performance is really good here, and it lasts a long time, and it's not like the kind of like a room filler fragrance that's going to blow everyone away, but you will have a noticeable scent bubble around you for quite some time, and I think that it's pretty long lasting as well. This fragrance is definitely unisex and anyone could wear it, but I do find that the extrait is definitely more masculine leaning, in my opinion. It feels like all of the notes that felt a little bit masculine to me in the regular EDP formulation are really ramped up in the extrait. So if you smell it and you're a guy and you think, oh, this is like a little bit too heavy on the iris, it feels a little girly to me or whatever, I would definitely recommend trying the extrait. I definitely think it has more masculine vibes to it. Okay, guys, for my next perfume that I want to talk about, I'm going to stick with the house of BDK, and the next perfume is going to be Rouge Smoking, which is possibly my favorite perfume by them, although I have a lot of favorites in this house, so it's hard to pick just one favorite. And for me, I feel like this is the fragrance that would be really fun to wear to a Halloween party or some sort of costume party where you just want something that's going to be noticeable and really fun and kind of quirky and interesting. Rouge Smoking was released in 2018. It is an EDP formulation, but similar to Gris Charnel, they have recently come out with an extrait version. I believe it just came out this year in 2024. The nose for this fragrance is Amélie Bourgeois, and the official notes from BDK's website, The opening is Italian bergamot, cherry accord, and pink berries, which is the same thing as pink pepper. The heart features black vanilla absolute and heliotrope. And the dry down has ambroxan, cashmeran, tonka bean, labdanum, and white musks. So what makes this the perfect Halloween fragrance to me is that it sort of reminds me of when I was in high school. I was kind of a little goth kid back in the day. This is a while back, guys. And there's something about this fragrance that just has this sort of like bubblegummy, like cherry bubblegummy vibe, but mixed with sort of an incense vibe. And when I was in high school, I was always lighting incense in my room and, listening to my like Depeche Mode or whatever. And I loved that whole vibe of like the smoky incense room with, chewing my cherry bubblegum, kind of a high school vibe. And I loved all the goth things and I loved dressing up and wearing all this black and lots of like eye makeup and the whole 9 yards. So this to me gives me those vibes that it feels like you could be dressed up as like, I don't know, somebody from the Beetlejuice movie or something. Like I was saying in the opening, I get this sort of clean, powdery, cherry, vanilla bubblegum vibe. I would almost put this in a similar family with Love Don't Be Shy by Killian, because it really has that very like bubblegummy kind of a vibe to it. But this one is like if you added incense to the mix. So it's not just only the bubblegum, you kind of get from that neroli vanilla combination. You're also getting like kind of the added cherry and you're getting that incense. So it's a little bit more dusty, a little bit more powdery, and just a little bit deeper. In particular, the incense reminds me of Nag Champa. If any of you like incense, you're probably familiar with that. My friends and I would always have Nag Champa incense that we would light in high school and even a little bit into the college years too. And I loved that smell so much. So it's like if there was a Nag Champa scented cherry bubblegum, if that was a thing, this is what it would smell like to me. I might also say that it's slightly reminiscent of like a cherry scented tobacco pipe, perhaps. Like there's just something about it that's like a little bit smoky, a little bit, I don't know. It has this just sort of like ambiance about it that just feels like this sort of cozy smoke-filled room with, kind of like dark music playing and everyone's like wearing black with like, deep red lipstick and the whole 9 yards. It's just the vibes I get with this one, but I love it so much. And it totally brings me back to those days. All right, next up on my list is the perfect perfume to wear to an outdoor bonfire with family and friends. I'm talking about A City on Fire by Imaginary Authors, which I have in this fun little sample size. And this is such an interesting and fun perfume, you guys. I don't know if all of you guys are familiar with Imaginary Authors, but they are awesome. They are based out of Portland, Oregon, and their fragrances are like works of art. They're super cool. The whole premise of it is that each perfume comes with a story written by an imaginary author, and they're all super interesting. A City on Fire was released in 2014. It is an EDP formulation, and the nose is owner of the house, Josh Meyer. And it's pretty cool. This fragrance is also available in bars of soap and candles. The official notes from Imaginary Authors' website are cade oil, spikenard, cardamom, clearwood, dark berries, labdanum, and burnt match. And they're kind of fun. They always sort of have these little like playful notes that are sort of like an imaginary note, if you will. They are sort of an impression that they're trying to put forward with the fragrance. And I think they've done a really good job with this. I mean, it really smells like fire. The opening of this perfume is decidedly on the funky side. And if you're familiar with Imaginary Authors, you'll be familiar with that a lot of their fragrances sort of start that way with just lots of notes hitting you. And there's just a lot going on, but it's kind of what makes it fun and what makes it such a work of art. In the opening, it almost has this foodie vibe. It almost smells like some sort of like something that you've burnt on your grill with maybe like some molasses in it or something. It's so interesting. I definitely get the juniper, and it also feels very piney to me. It has this sort of like evergreen vibe. It's very woodsy. It reminds me a lot of a Christmas tree. It's sort of like if you have a Christmas tree and you also have a diptyque feu de bois candle burning in the background. It has that sort of a vibe the more it dries down. And it sort of has that like yummy, smoky woods feel. I also get a touch of leather with this. So it's got this sort of like smoky, woodsy leather kind of a thing going on. I think it definitely leans a bit masculine because of all these notes that I'm talking about. You're getting that smoked feel, you're getting the pine tree kind of vibe, you're getting the leather. It's going to tend to lean a little bit more masculine, but there is a sweetness here too. It reminds me a little bit of Mixed Emotions by Byredo, except kind of minus the black currant and the jamminess, but it also has that sort of like burnty vibe. And I feel like it's kind of in a similar family. Like I said, it really reminds me a lot of Feu de Bois and just kind of smoky candles in general. So I'm excited that it comes in a candle because for me, I think I would like it better as a home scent, just because again, it leans a little bit masculine for me, but it's so good. And PS, if you guys like the idea of smoky candles, I have a article on thehallofstyle.com that explores a whole bunch of different smoky candles. So you guys might want to check that out if you're into that. This perfume has great performance and longevity, as is usually the case with imaginary authors. And I just think it's a cool work of art. It's super creative. It's super interesting. All of their perfumes are always going to take you on an interesting journey. So if you've never checked them out, you really should. They actually have samplers like this one, short story samplers that you can get. I think you can even custom make it and pick which perfumes you exactly want. I have a couple of these. So at this point, I now have everything that they've put out that's currently out on the market. So it's been so fun to try all of them. And some of them have become deep, deep loves for me where I was like, this is full bottle worthy. I need it. What do you guys think of the fragrances I've listed so far? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on these perfumes. Okay, so I can't have a fall list without an apple fragrance. So next up for me is I Am Trash by Etat Libre d'Orange, which I have in this fun little mini. And this perfume to me is the perfect perfume to wear if you're gonna go out apple picking or if you're gonna do some apple bobbing at a party. I Am Trash was released in 2018. It is an EDP formulation, and the nose is Daniela Andrier. And the official notes from Etat Libre d'Orange's website are apple essence upcycling, rose absolute upcycling, cedarwood atlas upcycling, bitter orange, and Garriott strawberry. So I Am Trash gets its interesting name from the fact that upcycled notes are used prominently here, as you heard me reading off the list of the notes. So like expired rose petals or an older apple or sort of cedarwood shavings that they can't use for anything else, that kind of a vibe. So it's really cool. So they're basically, this is about as green as you can get, right? Making perfume, you're using these products or these sort of like things that other people aren't needing or that being cast off or thrown in the trash to create this perfume. The first time I heard of this perfume, I thought that's a great idea, but how is it going to smell? Like, is it going to smell like rotten fruit? And it really doesn't at all. It's extremely clean. They've got this, sort of cozy, clean ambroxany vibe going on here. That's really great. And it mixes so well with the apple. I actually think this perfume, if you guys are familiar with JHAG, Juliet Has a Gun, if you're familiar with Pear Inc., this is like an apple version of that. It's super similar with that same sort of ambroxany vibe with the really clean, fresh fruit. That ambroxan will give you that sort of your skin but better kind of a vibe, and it just feels very clean and refreshing. This is a great, just fresh out of the shower fragrance. You can wear it to the office. It's super easygoing. It's not overly heavy. It just smells fresh and clean. This fragrance is very fruity with that clean, fresh apple. It matches up really well with the ISOE Super, which is sort of an ambroxany kind of vibe with like a woodsy undertone. It's really nice. It's really clean and fresh, very unisex. Anyone could wear this. And like I said, it's very easy to wear. You're not going to offend anyone with this fragrance. You could wear this pretty much anytime, anywhere, and you'll be good to go. If you like really clean, minimalistic fragrances, like perhaps another popular J. Hague fragrance, Not a Perfume, or if you're really into the perfumes by Eccentric Molecules and you like something that's just really minimalistic, not overbearing, not too strong, you might have to wear it in close quarters with people. This is a really great perfume for that kind of a thing. If you like the sound of this fragrance and other Apple fragrances, be sure to check out my article on theholofstyle.com where I feature the best Apple perfumes. This, of course, is definitely on there. This is a great, great Apple perfume, and I really highly recommend it. Okay, guys, I'm going to stick with Etat Libre d'Orange as a house for a little bit longer because the next perfume that I want to share with you guys is called Like This. And sadly, I only have it in a little decant. I love this perfume. I definitely want a full bottle of it. It is the epitome of fall. And for me, I think this is especially the perfect perfume to wear when you go out to the pumpkin patch with your kids and you're picking out a pumpkin and you're having like some fresh apple cider that they've made. And maybe they sometimes have those little like cute donuts, the little apple cider donuts that you can have. It is perfect for that outing. Like This was released a while back in 2010. It is an EDP formulation. The nose for this one is again Mathilde Bijaoui. And the official notes from Etat Libre d'Orange's website is ginger from Indonesia, pumpkin, tangerine, immortelle, Moroccan neroli, rose, spicy notes, vetiver, woody notes, musk, and heliotrope. This perfume, as you can hear from those notes, is just the epitome of fall. It is perfect. It even has a pumpkin note in it. So this really is like the quintessential wearing to the pumpkin patch perfume. It's just perfect for that. It's also perfect for just a cozy day in your house, maybe like baking an apple pie or doing something else that feels very fall-like. It's really interesting. This perfume was created in collaboration with the actress Tilda Swinton, and she based it off of her favorite poem by Rumi. And it's meant to evoke this sort of cozy hominess. So you're at your home, it's a cool, crisp fall day, you're baking a pie, you've got cozy like flowers on the table, and it's just all those like comforting, like kitcheny, homey types of scents all coming together into one. This has so many notes that I love. I love heliotrope. It's one of my very favorite notes, and I really get it here. It has this sort of dusty, almondy feel to it. It's so good. This perfume also has immortelle, which is not in a ton of fragrances, but it's such a good note. It's also a little dry and dusty, but it sort of has a slightly brown sugary vibe. It has this like dried flower, but it's like this little bit of a sweetness with this sort of brown sugar. It's really good. It's a really interesting and I think underused note, but it's used so, so well here. Definitely get the ginger, which is so cozy and perfect for fall. Matches perfect with the other notes I've mentioned, and the pumpkin. The vetiver here is really good. It's not like super aftershavey. It gives it some interest. It's kind of, again, you get this sort of like dry, cozy vibe with it. There's almost like a mapley vibe here. I've kind of talked about with another fragrance or two on this list as well. So it matches perfect, like this sort of like pumpkin and maple and these like cozy, dusty, dry vibes. It just all goes together so, so well. I also get the neroli here. So you've got this sort of sweet oranginess. It's just perfect. This is such a perfect fall fragrance. If you haven't tried this one and you love the scent of fall, I really recommend getting a decant of this and giving it a try. It is so, so good. It's so cozy. This is another nice unisex fragrance. I think a lot of these fall perfumes are perfectly unisex because they have the spice, they have like vanilla and amber and woods and these different notes that just work really well for both men and women. All right, next up on my list is a perfume that I think would be perfect to wear out wine tasting. And it's another one that I only have in a decant, but this is Stranger's Parfumerie Cherry Amaretto. If you guys watch my sort of casual videos over on Instagram, where I do kind of a walk and a talk and I'm walking around trying to get some steps in. You guys have heard me talk about this perhaps. It's such a good perfume. I just tried it for the first time a few weeks ago, instantly fell in love with it. It is so, so good. And it's got the perfect vibes for wearing out wine tasting. Cherry Amaretto was released in 2023, so it's fairly new. It's an EDP formulation and the nose is owner of the house Prin Lomros. The official notes from Stranger's website are amaretto, brandy, maraschino cherry, sweet cherry, cinnamon, heliotrope, tonka bean, vanilla, praline, grenadine, almond, peach, red apple juice, red wine, strawberry, and white chocolate. So quite a mouthful of notes. There is a lot going on here, but you can see from hearing those notes why I think this is so perfect for a wine tasting day. It has not only the wine, it has sort of the apple juice vibes. It's got the amaretto. It's just got this sort of like overall very sweet, kind of like sweet wine, cozy, boozy vibes, very fruity, very sweet. You gotta like sweet fragrances for this one, you guys. And you know I love sweet fragrances. But, you know, if you're the type of person who's not into sweet fragrances, I don't think this is going to work for you because it is really pretty sweet. With this one, I really get that cherry. It's a very realistic maraschino cherry. I also really get the cinnamon. It's nice and spicy, which makes it perfect for fall with those perfect sort of fruity, spicy vibes. I get a lot of the praline, which gives it a delicious caramelized candy impression. There's also a noticeable boozy vibe with that almondy amaretto and the brandy. So you have to be okay with that. And of course, there's the wine too. So it is going to give you a little bit of a boozy vibe. I would say I get that more in the opening and sort of the earlier stages of the fragrance. And everything blends together so well here that I don't think there's any one impression that you're going to feel like really lopsided about, like, oh, this is so boozy the whole time, or, you know, it's just the notes are coming together really well. It's to make just this sort of cozy, sweet concoction. There's a really nice, clean, musky dry down here that I really like. The projection is good. It's really good performing. It lasts a long time as a skin scent after it sort of fades the initial like few hours where you have a scent bubble and then it fades to a skin scent, but lasts a really long time. It's just overall so cozy and deep and yummy. I just love this one and definitely recommend it to people that like those sort of deep, cozy, sweet, really like lots of notes going on kind of perfumes. I think you'll really like this. Okay, so next on my list is another decant. I have a lot of decants here, you guys, because I'm not made of money. And these are all things I bought with my own money. So a lot of these I don't have full bottles of yet, but they're all ones that are on my wish list. So anyways, that being said, next up is Zoologist Chipmunk, which I also have in a fun decant, as I mentioned. And to me, this is the perfect fragrance to wear out to the zoo or to go look at the zoo lights. I don't know if if you have a zoo that's nearby you, we have a wonderful one that's in our city that always has these different zoo light events for different holidays. It's so fun to go and check it out with my nephews and nieces or with my friends and their kids. And we always have such a good time seeing what they've put together and just all the neat lights and different things they've put up around the animals. Zoologist is a very cool house. They are all about animals. Their packaging is gorgeous. Has these sort of like black and white stipples, sort of artist renderings of different animals that are dressed up like very fancy, like, and, you know, kind of like these like oldie English style, like animals dressed up very cool. And they're just super classy. And it's cool too because all of their fragrances, a lot of them are pretty animalic, but they don't use any animal notes. So it's kind of cool. Like you sort of get these vibes of like, they actually care about animals and they're celebrating animals here. And these different animal scents are all very focused on one animal or another, and they do such a good job of conveying the feeling of each animal. Like this one, you really get this chipmunk vibes with the notes. Chipmunk was released in 2021. It is an extrait de parfum formulation, so this one's got a little bit more oomph to it. The nose here is Pia Long, and the official notes from Zoologist. The opening has quince, pink pepper, red mandarin, cardamom, and nutmeg. The heart has chamomile, hazelnut, fir balsam absolute, oak absolute, and earthy notes. And the dry down is cedarwood, amyris, patchouli, vetiver, benzoin resin, apopanax, guaiac wood, and synthetic animal notes. So to me, it's a no-brainer that the perfect perfume to wear to go to the zoo is one from Zoologist. I just had to pick it. And Chipmunk is such a great fall fragrance. It has all the perfect notes for fall. It's very cozy. It has a little touch of spice. You really get the expected woodsy and sort of balsamic vibes here. It really smells like a fresh forest. You get some great spices. It's got the ambery resins going on, so that's super cozy. It has this really sort of like dry earth, like nutty, just very like it really smells like all of the different various things that you're getting during the fall. It makes me feel like being on a fall walk through the zoo or possibly on a nature trail where you're smelling those dried leaves and the fir balsam, and it's just very woodsy and cozy. This fragrance is quite unisex with a possible slight masculine lean. It does have the woodsiness, the earthiness, and that vetiver, so that perhaps could make it lean a touch masculine for some, but it's fairly down the line. I think it might be enjoyable to layer this with the vanilla, like a really good basic vanilla. I think that could be a really good match. Overall, this is a really mellow fragrance. If some of you guys are, if you're familiar with Zoologist, you know that their perfumes can be a lot. They can be beast mode. You know, they can really fill a room and be really heavy, be really animalic. I don't get that with this one, even though it mentions the animal notes. It's not animalic to me. It's not, and I'm sensitive to that. And I really don't get that here. It's much more clean. It's much more like so woodsy and all about that balsam and, you know, a little spice and the nuttiness. With the things that are going on here, it's much more clean leaning to me, and it did not feel animalic to me. It's pretty mellow. Like for a Zoologist fragrance, it's not super heavy duty. It's more of an intimate skin scent, and I just feel like it's really, really easy to wear this. Like, you could definitely wear this in the daytime, out with people. You know, you're not going to be blowing the room away with this at all. It's really, really easy to wear. All right, next up on my list is the perfect perfume to wear to a cozy coffee date. And I'm going to go with Love Me Latte by Narcotica, which is brand new, and I love coffee fragrances. It's one of my favorite genre. I did a whole article on it on thehollowstyle.com. So if you guys also like coffee fragrances, you'll want to check that out. And this one for me is just so good. It's so cozy, gourmand, sweet, yummy. This is the epitome of like the perfect coffee fragrance in my opinion. Like I was saying, Love Me Latte is brand spanking new. It just came out this year in mid-September, so it's only about a month old. I didn't see an actual website for Narcotica, and I don't know if it's just because they're a fairly new house. Let me know if you guys know. I do see a Instagram page for them. So I got these notes from their Instagram, and they are, opening is baked pear, caramelized figs, white sweet cherries, and coconut milk. The heart has golden caramel, roasted coffee beans, ambrette, creamy milk, vanilla caviar. And if you're not familiar with vanilla caviar, it isn't actual caviar. It is the little teeny tiny seeds that are inside of a vanilla bean or a vanilla pod. The mid notes also feature brown sugar, champaca, and lily of the valley. And then the base has amber, Madagascar vanilla, tonka bean, sandalwood, white cedar, guaiac wood, and musk. So again, a lot of notes and a lot of yummy notes. I really, really love the notes in this fragrance. I get pretty much everything they're saying here, believe it or not. You can really, this is one of those perfumes that it's blended really well, but if you look for the different scents, and sniff on your arm, you'll really get the different things that they're talking about. And it's so, so, so good. Everything here is so gourmand and cozy and fall-like. And it's just like the quintessential, like cozy latte vibe. This perfume is very sweet and vanilla heavy. It's deep and caramelized. I really get the cherry and an overall sweet, fruity vibe. There's a very realistic milk impression here. It's lactonic and creamy, but in the best way possible. It doesn't smell like spoiled milk or dried milk or anything like that. It's very it really does smell like a latte. Or to me, I actually almost get more of like a milk chocolate mocha. Years and years ago when I worked downtown in the city, we would go to a basically hot chocolate bar. They had coffee and mochas too. And I would get these amazing mochas that were made with milk chocolate and caramel. It was like tooth achingly sweet, but I loved it. I totally have a sweet tooth, and they were like the best, most delicious mochas ever. Super indulgent, super like sweet treat, but so good. And this perfume really reminds me of that vibe. It's just so, so yummy and gourmand, and just, it smells like the kind of thing that you kind of want to lick your wrist. Like it just smells so gourmand and delicious. You do get a touch of woodsiness here, and I think that helps push this a little bit more unisex. So if you're a guy and you like sweet gourmands, you're probably going to like this. I don't think it is so over the top, sweet and, it's not girly or anything. It's definitely very sweet and gourmand. But if you're a guy who loves gourmands, I think this, is definitely worth your while to try. It's so, so, so good. I love the use of guaiac wood here. It's one of my favorite woodsy notes. It has a sweet, sort of slightly caramelized vibe to it. If you guys are familiar with Maison Margiela's very popular By the Fireplace perfume from their replica line, it uses guaiac wood so well here, mixed with this like totally cozy vanilla. And they've also got the chestnut going on here. But I think if you like that vibe and you like the way that they've used guaiac wood in By the Fireplace, I think you'll really like it here as well. In the dry down, as it gets more woodsy and spicy, I also get these sort of vibes that remind me of one of my favorite scents from Mrs. Meyer's, the Acorn Spice. I love this one. I always get this in the fall. I have it here in the hand soap, and I also I get like the whole set with like the spray cleaner and the dish soap as well. And it's just so, so good in the fall. It's so cozy. Got this like clean, woodsy, ambery, vanilla, spicy vibe. And so if you're kind of familiar with either By the Fireplace or this sort of like acorn spice kind of vibe, I think that, you'll really like the dry down that you get with Love Me Latte. All right, guys, I got 3 more fragrances to go. Next on my list is the perfect perfume to wear to Thanksgiving dinner, especially if you're going to be in the kitchen baking pies with grandma. This is Sora Dora's Janie or Janie. I'm not sure how this is pronounced. So if you guys know for sure, let me know. I think it's Janie, but I could be wrong on that. So this is so, so, so yummy. And it is all about the apple baked goods kind of vibe. So this perfume was released in 2023, so it's fairly new. It is an EDP formulation, and the nose is Margot Le Pégueron. The official notes from Sora Dora's website are baked apple, peach, Ceylon cinnamon essence, pâte fouettée, which is puff pastry, osmanthus absolu, plum, walnut, caramel, almond, vanilla, and white musk. So this perfume is literally based on a little girl making this yummy apple puff pastry dessert. This is based on a French apple tart dessert called tarte tatin. It was named after the Teton sisters who invented it and served it in their hotel. And this is so photorealistic in terms of this apple pastry vibe. You really, really get that. You can smell butter. It's got this like delicious caramelized apple vibe. You can actually smell like sugar crystals. I mean, this is just photorealistic apple tart vibes here all the way. You also get the cinnamon, the vanilla, an overall very sweet gourmand impression. You really get those holiday like pie, tart, sweet treat vibes. You're making puff pastry and layering it with this like super delicious, like sweet caramelized, lightly spiced apples. Put a dollop of like, creamy vanilla ice cream on the top. Like, just super, super delicious. Perfect for Thanksgiving dinner. One thing I really love about this fragrance is I really get the almond as well. The almond is so good here. It is super sweet. It is really gives you almost that like marzipan-y almond paste kind of vibe. Almond is a favorite note of mine, and it's one of those ones that can really get lost in a fragrance, especially if there's a lot of other notes or a lot of other things going on. So I love that it's so prominent and yummy here, and I really do notice it without having to strain to smell it or anything. The vanilla here is super yummy as well. Like I said, you might get an impression of vanilla ice cream on top of the apple yummy. It's just so, so good. If you love photorealistic gourmand fragrances and you love that idea of the apple pie, the apple tart kind of a feel, I think this is a must try. It smells so good. Even though this is an extrait, I wouldn't say it's massively powerful. Like it's just the right amount. Like you'll notice it on yourself, but it's not going to like fill the room or be, overly strong or anything like that. So you can easily wear this to Thanksgiving dinner or, out getting a sweet treat with friends or whatever, and you're not going to like overpower everybody. All right, up next, guys, is my choice to wear to an Oktoberfest party, which I actually went to one last weekend and it was so, so fun. Shout out to my friend if she's watching. She gives the best Oktoberfest parties. They are such a blast. And I had a wonderful time as always. She is the hostess with the mostest. I thought it would be appropriate to feature a German house since we're talking Oktoberfest parties. So I'm going to go with Escada and Celebrate Now or Celebrate N.O.W. This is such a great little under the radar cheapie, and I actually think it might be discontinued because I don't see it on their website, but it's still on the discounters and it's massively affordable. Like I'm pretty sure it's under $30. I think it's in the 20s. And it's so good. It's like this perfect cozy fall fragrance, which, a lot of times Escada kind of does these like sweet, girly fragrances. They have that summer line that they have stuff come out with every year that's always like really sweet and tropical and like for wearing when you go to vacation and you're by the poolside. And then they also have like the Candy Love and that whole love line with the little hearts that look like they're from like the Barbie Dream Mansion. But this one is just like, it's so cozy for the fall. I really like what they've created here. This fragrance was released in 2017. It is an EDP formulation, and I'm not sure who the nose is. I didn't see it in any of my usual sources, so I'm not sure who it is for this one. The official notes from Escada, the opening is ginger, the heart is magnolia, and the dry down features vanilla, tonka bean, and cinnamon. So just a few simple notes, but it's just perfect for fall. It's got the most perfect little combination of notes. Yeah, I really like this one. It's really clean. It's a little bit sparkly from the ginger, and you also get a touch of spice, which I love, and of course is so perfect for autumn. I almost get kind of an almondy heliotrope vibe with this one, and because they've only listed such a few number of notes, I do wonder if there's some other things going on here, like maybe there's a heliotrope or a bitter almond or a couple of other notes that they're not mentioning but that are in the fragrance. The opening's pretty sweet. Like I said, you get a lot of that almondy vibe. It's almost like an almondy candy kind of a feel. And I get my vanilla powdered sugar that I'm always talking about on here. I get a little bit of a zing from the ginger. It's like slightly spicy, slightly zingy, matches really well with that sweet, yummy vanilla. If you love tonka as a note, you're gonna love this dry down. You get lots of tonka. Overall, it's just very clean, mellow, and easy to wear. And the performance is fine. It's not terrible. For such an affordable fragrance, I get a good 3 hours of like a scent bubble around me, and then it lasts for a bit longer as kind of a more intimate skin scent. But I'm happy with that performance considering this whole big full bottle was like $22 or whatever it was. It was so inexpensive. And I think the scent is really great. It's sort of one of those under the radar hidden gems, in my opinion. I think if you also like Casserole Amour Amour, which is another sort of great value for the money kind of a fragrance that is really easy to find for a good deal on the discounters. If you like this kind of vibe, I think you'll really like this one as well. Like they're very, very similar in feel. In fact, I mentioned both of these on my Cozy as a Cashmere sweater list. And you'll find a lot of other fragrances there that are also perfect for the fall, that have that really cozy sort of like amber, vanilla, tonka, slightly woodsy, just like very cozy, clean, comfortable fall type of fragrances on that list. All right, guys, we've finally come to the end of the list. Last but not least, the last one I'm talking about, which I also have in just a decant, because again, not made of money, is the wonderful Fall Cashmere by Skylar. This one is so cozy and wonderful. And with a name like Fall Cashmere, obviously it's going to be great for just about anything this time of the year. But my recommendation is I think this would be really fun to wear to a tailgating party. If you're like me and you're a big football fan or a sports fan and you like to do these kind of fun tailgating gatherings with family and friends while you're like before a football game or maybe even before like a hockey game, or even my beloved soccer is still going right now. So if you like that kind of a gathering, I think this is a really nice fragrance for that because it's just really mellow, it's really clean, it's really easygoing and quite pretty. Fall Cashmere was released in 2021. It is an EDP formulation and the nose was Sarah Horowitz. And the official notes from Skylar's website, the opening has roasted almond and spiced ginger. The heart is cinnamon bark, clove, and matcha tea. And the dry down features creamy sandalwood, caramelized vanilla, white musk, and golden amber. So I think it's a no-brainer with a name like Fall Cashmere and hearing those notes that this is just quintessential fall fragrance. It's so good. The notes are so, so good here. I just love this one. You get a great opening with totally fall-like. You get lots of fall spices. You really, really get the cinnamon. I also get the almond and the tea with this, but the tea is good here. It's not too much. I'm kind of struggle with tea notes for some reason. They just feel kind of a little bit boring to me. I'm so sorry for anyone that loves tea fragrances, but for whatever reason, I don't hate them, but they just are not my most favorite. But it works well here. It's like blends perfectly with the other things that are going on and makes it feel cozy and not boring. There's a slightly lactonic vibe here in the best way possible that almost makes this have a little bit of a chai tea vibe, like perhaps you made a chai tea with almond milk. So it's sort of slightly in a little bit of a similar family with Gris Charnel in that way, although I would say those scents are pretty different. But it does have that same kind of vibe, like you could almost get that sort of chai tea sort of vibe. The star of the show here is really the cinnamon bark. So you really got to be good with cinnamon to enjoy this fragrance. I know for some people, cinnamon can make it really be pushed into like the home scent arena. You might think more of like a candle or some kind of like something that is scenting your house. But I think they've done a good job here with making this very wearable. I think this would make a lovely candle as well, but it's definitely very wearable as a perfume. Actually, I know Skylar used to have candles. I don't see them on their website anymore, so I think it's perhaps something they're either phasing out or maybe they're going to bring in some new fragrances. I'm not sure. I'm still seeing them show up, like a few of them on like Nordstrom and some other retailers. So I think if you're excited about looking for candles from Skylar, probably do it sooner rather than later. I don't know how much longer they're going to be around, like I said. And unfortunately, I didn't see a candle with this particular scent, which I think would be so perfect. And I don't know if they just never had one or if they're completely sold out of it. But Skylar, if you're listening, I think this scent would also be a great candle. So maybe something to consider, that they might make more of those in the future and, you know, have this scent be one of those candles. This perfume definitely has the Skylar DNA, in my opinion. If you like their other kind of cozy, woodsy vanilla fragrances, I think you're really, really gonna like this. Like if you like Vanilla Sky, I think if you like Vanilla Sky and you like cinnamon, this is gonna be pretty safe for you. It's really, really good. And it really, really has that just perfect, spicy, cinnamon, yummy kind of chai tea feeling that you know, is just so perfect for the fall. So that's my list, guys. Let me know what you think. Please drop me a comment down below. Please let me know if you agree with my choices. Let me know which fragrances and or fall activities I might have missed, and give me your suggestions. Give me your thoughts of what are your favorite fall fragrances. There's so many good ones. There's so many perfumes that have that perfect like ambery, vanilla, like spicy vibe that just is so perfect for the fall. Like a little bit of woods, just like super cozy. There's so many good ones. Don't forget to head over to my website, theholofstyle.com. I have so many wonderful articles. They're reviewing tons of different perfumes, tons of different shower gels, candles, other scented items. I have some really great fall related content over there. I have a list that is my favorite autumnal fragrances. And then, as I mentioned before, I've got best apple list, best coffee list. I've got my cozy as a cashmere sweater list. I have a list of the best chocolate perfumes, which is great now, but would also be great heading into winter as well. So if any of those lists sound like something you'd be interested in, head on over to theholofstyle.com and check it out. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you're enjoying my content, please don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care, guys.